Hey guys, this is going to be a challenge rift push build for the wizard. So it's about that time where I'm going to try and push for 95. Challenge rift 95 so I can get the better gear, which is going to be like the Hell 4 quality drops from vendors. So I wanted to share this build that I came up with you guys. And I'll show you something as far as combat rating. So as I was progressing to so 95 is my target, Rift 95. The enemy combat rating is 3250. Mine was 2897. So I'm about 353, or exactly 353 less combat rating than the enemy, which means I'm taking 305% more damage, and I'm dealing 75% less damage. All right. Now, part of this is fishing for a good rift. So something that has hopefully like a more open map that has certain enemy types, which kind of come down to the like the range shooters and the enemies that you face. So the golems and imps are pretty good. Those are the ones that have like the golems that like send something underground and you see it coming and you have time to get out of the way. Sand scorpion bandits, those are the ones that kind of lob the bombs and you'll see them land and they're flashing and you can get out of the way. The Lacuni monsters, they kind of lob like these grenades that are like cluster bombs. You'll see them fling them in the air and then you have time to get out before they fall down into a couple different pieces and explode. So as I was fishing, I noticed that those three packs were pretty favorable to go up against. And then the Crusader King was pretty good for me to handle. Perdition was kind of tough. The range on his strikes are always catching me off guard, like how much range they have. And then ended up killing this Vakaja, the one that will summon some other imps, and she'll take 3 big hits on the ground and then repeat. So I'll go over that footage in a little bit. We'll go over the Rift 95 clear. But yeah, I just wanted to point out that this is kind of like what you're looking at. So whether you're trying to conquer 95 like I was, or you're trying to do 60 or whatever, it's going to come down to, well, two things. One thing is the difference in combat rating, how much less you are, and then also your resonance. Now I'm completely free to play, so I just have 1-star gems and 1 2-star gem. So I'm just under 500 right now for resonance. Okay, so I'll show you real quick the Helliquary. I'm using the one that I think everyone gets, this claw. So 10% attack speed and challenge rifts only. So everyone should have access to that. So I would just say go ahead and equip that unless you know for sure something else would benefit you. And then we got, so I'll go over the gems real quick. Berserker's Eye. These are all rank 5 except for the Bloody Reach to rank 4. The Bloody Reach, I got Chain Death and Trick Shot and Everlasting Torment and Carson's. Alright, and the gem ain't doing squat for this build. The other builds I use normally have Meteor. This one doesn't, so that's pretty much doing nothing. I got the 2-piece Grace set. Grace of Flagellance. So that's adding to the continual damage. There's no channeling in this build, so that's not going to apply. But persistent ground damage and continual damage should benefit from that. So we'll go over to skills. Alright, do an Arcane Wind. So the damage is going to pretty much come from Arcane Wind Scorch combo. So get the extra 50% damage from burning enemies. I got Hungering Wind Augment from the main hand weapon. I get an additional charge and 10% increase the Arcane Wind damage for the legs. Scorch, using the new skill Magma Burst, the headpiece, and increasing the radius by 20% from shoulders. Now, I pretty much took like a damage build that I had and traded out damage and mobility, which were like disintegrate and teleport. Traded those two out for crowd control. So this is one of them. This is Ray of Frost, but I'm using the new skill. Create an illusion, and then for 5 seconds, you kind of like point it. As you drop it, you point it in a direction, and it'll just fire a frost beam for 5 seconds. And it does like a stacking chill, and it really slows down enemies. So you can set that while you do other things. So that's what's real nice about it. Then I'm using slow time. So the idea is slow time. So it works for, it's out there for at least 6 seconds, and then I'm gonna have this illusion out there for 5 seconds. And what I'll do is alternate. So I'll use the Ray of Frost first, ideally, because it's got a shorter cooldown. So I'll do that first, and then after 5 seconds, when I see that the enemies are starting to come to me again, and I feel like I'm gonna want to continue slowing them down, then I'll use slow time, and that buys me another 6-7 seconds. Okay. And then around that time, by the time that's up, 5 seconds plus 6 to 7 seconds, this is back off cooldown again. Ray of Frost is available. So you can get like 3 in a row that it pretty much bam, 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 you're locking enemies down. And of course, slow time will help with if they're throwing anything at you, it'll slow that down, give you time to get out of the way. And one thing I totally forgot about was until after I finished 95 was that Scorch will stun for 2 seconds. Right here, stunning all nearby enemies for 2 seconds. So you could, I think in the rifts I was dropping this first and then doing Scorch and then Arcane Wind. But seeing this, I mean, this is really min-maxing, but it could be to your benefit. You could do the Scorch, Arcane Wind, and then immediately after do the Ray of Frost, because, you know, as advertised, this should get you 2 seconds of stun. So you could do something like that for the rotation. All right, so now for some other considerations. Let's say you don't have those fancy items, the fancy new ones. And I'll put this in the skill description. Other things that you can try out. So here's the new one of the new items. This creates the Magma Burst. So if you don't have that, I'd say go Meteor. Definitely want a fire skill that you could just drop and combo that with Arcane Wind. But if you don't have the one for this skill, and you happen to go Meteor, then you could do something like, you could extend the Ray of Frost range. We're not going to be using teleport. I wouldn't use any of these other Scorch ones actually, because they don't provide fire. So you could do that for the head item. Scorch. So yeah, if you end up like not running Scorch and you end up running Meteor, you could do the increased Meteor damage here. You can even try that one if you want. You know, go in Ray of Frost, do some extra damage that way. Let's see what we got. For this one, you could do... I don't think it does as much damage. At least that's what it looks like on paper. But if you want to test it out, go right ahead. You could do this one instead, where you get another charge of Arcane Wind, and then you can throw the tornado in a line. So if that's something you like better, if you just want to test it out, maybe it works better. The numbers don't seem to add up in comparison to the other weapon I got. But you could try that out. Yeah, I would probably go that route. You know, if you don't want to use the one I'm using. Ray of Frost. If you don't have this item for Ray of Frost, I would say go, if you have it, use this one. And it's going to be a longer cooldown. But you can use these in conjunction with the pants, the crystal guards, that will lessen Ice Crystal cooldown by 15%, which takes off 5 seconds. So you can use that as an alternate. You have to wait like a little bit more. But if you don't have the item that I'm referring to in this build, you can try that one. Yeah, I wouldn't try out any of these other ones in place of that. You really want to get that CC going as quick as possible. Pants, I'm using that. So you could do... Let's see. You could do the Starcaller's Breaches. A lot of people use that. It doesn't stun, but it... so this is if you don't use Scorch and use Meteor instead. You can do this. It covers a bigger area, but it's not going to stun. Let's see what else. Yeah, and there's the Crystal Guard. So if you end up going Ice Crystal, definitely use that to get the cooldown back. Get another charge for Arcane Wind. Let's see what else. You could do Scorch damage increased by 10%. I would really favor the one I have over this one, but if you don't have the other one, then of course use that one. Let's see what else. Yeah, so that's it. That's the other build, the other item considerations that you could do. I'll put them in the comments. Let's see what else we got. Alright, so yeah, real quick, we were talking about damage and different skills and what's better than other ones. So we'll go to my nerdy spreadsheet here real quick. So Arcane Wind, here's the Hungering Wind. So this is averaged, damage of the skill averaged over the skill cycle, so like pretty much the cooldown. So I'm taking this, in this case, you know, if I'm getting Firestorm damage, it's going to be 20,925 over 9 seconds until I'm able to use it again. And that comes out to 2,300, roughly. Now, if you use the other weapon I was talking about, where you could do the tornado in a line, and you get an additional charge, you can end up using this 3 times. You know, 3 charges of that versus like 2 charges of this with that legendary item that gives you the extra charge. So yeah, that's why I decided to go with this, because on paper it looks like it does a lot more damage. Let's see. So Ice Crystal. This is the other consideration I was talking about. Freezing Crystal. You get a 20% stack 8 times. Doesn't do a whole lot of damage, but you're really not picking it for that. You're picking it for the CC. So that was the other consideration. The Phantom Ray is the one I'm actually going with, and that's for 5 seconds with a 12-second cooldown. And it ends up actually does decent damage too. So Meteor, if you end up going Meteor instead of Scorch, you can't go wrong with that. If you do the Starcaller's Breaches, where it doesn't stun but covers a larger area, you can probably do a little less damage over time. But I would imagine it's still viable. Scorch, here's the Magma Burst, so 1655 I pointed this out in another video talking about that item specifically. I actually skipped out on this initial damage to 262, averaged over 9 seconds. I didn't add that in with the continuous damage that it does. So it's actually 1655 averaged per second over 9 seconds. And that's like I think like the second highest. So anyway, that's why I'm taking those skills for damage. Alright, so let's go over the video here. Let's see, is that... Okay, so here's the challenge rift. Let's go full screen. Alright, so 95. I had not completed it yet. And I had kind of fished around. It usually takes me like 2 or 3 times. Now this is a bug. This thing that came up. This is from the previous rift that I did was 94. This was still up because I wanted to take a screenshot of that. And then when I came in here, this thing automatically popped up. So this is not accurate, these stats here. And I'll show you. I took a screenshot. So it's the same as this. And this is, you can see here, rift level 94. So this is a snapshot of the rift that I was in before this. I just kind of popped into a 94 rift right away, took a screenshot because I wanted to mark it down for my own information and to share it with you guys. So that automatically popped up in this one. Now this one is actually, and I took a screenshot of a rift level 95. It's this. So these are the actual stats. 3250 combat rating for the monsters, and there's mine. Here's how much more damage I'm taking and less damage I'm taking. All right, so just wanted to clear that up because that must have looked confusing. All right, let's continue. All right, so this is a nice open rift. This is exactly what we want. Golems are good. You can see the range attacks that they do. You can see them coming before they land, unlike some of the other packs of monsters that have like archers and stuff like that have pinpoint accuracy. All right, so I dropped the freeze. So that's my crowd control for 5 seconds, and I dropped the Scorch, and there's the slow time. And I'm also dropping a charge of Arcane Wind. Sometimes I'll just drop both charges of Arcane Wind because they will stack. If they go over the same enemy, you'll get pretty much double damage. You'll get damage from each of the charges of the tornado.
That feels better.
Those things suck that do the drain life. Thankfully with a blue pack, the yellow ones like that, I just avoid like the plague. So I'll probably, yeah, there we go. Drop the Ray of Frost, Magma Burst, and Arcane Wind. I did both charges of Arcane Wind. Now, slow time was available. Did that. Now look, Ray of Frost is available again. Further damage. Ray of Frost is available. Drop that. Magma. So I'm just going through the skills now. As they come available. When you get like a pack like that, you get a hang of it. If you practice it a little bit, a couple of reps, you'll get the hang of it. Like what to do, like the order, and you're keeping an eye on your cooldowns, what's coming off, what's available. I tend to save the slow time if I encounter something that has like projectiles. So some, I don't know if these have it. I thought it might have been a different rift, but there was one pack that had like those. I don't know. It looked like a snake, like a green snake head that shoots like poison blobs or something like that. And then slow time helped with that. Yeah, just trying to avoid all that. Yeah. So that was a time where Magma just misfired. It like caught like one guy and it ended up detonating earlier than I hoped or I wanted to. So that's an annoying thing about Magma Burst. is, I mean, especially narrow corridors, it's a mess. But something, a rift like this that you're going to be trying to fish for anyway in challenge rifts, it's, you know, it's acceptable, you know, to have something like that. You know, and then you get the extra damage from it. Alright, so yeah, these moving along pretty well here. Probably about like 60% of the way there. Here's a pack. Those are the green snake things I was telling you about. I don't know if they become a factor here. I think I kite everything back. And you drop that, and then of course there's always one guy to come up behind you and control you. One guy I like always forget about, but I got him in the slow time bubble. Bring frost available, drop that. So it's just, you can see it like kicks out like some consistent damage while you're moving around, and it's slowing them down at the same time. Again, you're trading in like some of those other skills that, you know, you might have given you some more damage, but this is like buying you time, so you're not constantly running around, and then in doing so, and also you're taking less damage too. It gives you more time to drop the skills to do more damage. All right, let's see here. So yeah, we're not even like halfway to the bar fill. Now this boss, I'm usually pretty comfortable fighting this boss with when I have the Meteor skill, but you'll see here that it's obvious I'm struggling to do damage to the boss and get around the minions. Now the pattern for the boss, if you haven't figured this out, see how it does like that red, you see like the red mask above her? When she does that, she'll orient herself to you and then strike once forward and then once to the right and then once to the left.
I'm here.
I guess her left and then her right. So she's doing that, oriented, and now she can go forward and then to her left and then her right. So once you pick up that pattern, right after she orients herself, you can just head to the back of her, and she will not attack the back. Now she does do like a sweep thing, like a sweep attack, and you'll see it a little bit. But that's pretty rare. I haven't figured out exactly what conditions she does that attack. But yeah, it's probably obvious now. I'm just like not playing the best. But still effective. It's like even having done this, if I fish for another rift, it's similar layout, similar monsters. I feel like I could probably do like another 1 or 2 levels. So some of you guys that are like highly skilled out there, I think this build in your hands, you can be real effective. This is just going on. This is the same kind of cycle, and with the magic missile auto attack, most of the time, 80% of those hits that were intended for her are going to the minions, but the auto attack just throws it off. And I mean, some of it's just messy play by me. Alright. So just continuing the cycle and continuing the messy gameplay. But yeah, Magma Burst. So what you're seeing here is like the other item that gives like a 20% extra radius for Scorch. It doesn't seem to increase the size of the ball that you roll out, but it definitely increases the pool of magma. Yeah, we're getting there. You know, thankfully that pool covers under her feet, because I'm not doing a whole lot of damage from magic missile. And there we go. So 8 minutes, just under 8.5 minutes. Yeah. So hopefully, I don't know. Maybe you guys can try this out. Some of you guys who are better skilled, and get your level 60 and level 95. All right, guys. That'll do it for this video, and I'll catch you guys later. See ya.